Manchester Airport police situation, which of course is a fast and much developing story. You hinted that the police, in your view, should be tough and robust. Are you suggesting that what you've seen so far in terms of footage would seem to you, in terms of the way the police handle this situation, you think it looks appropriate and even-handed?
Look, I'm not an expert on the use of violence in placating, in neutralising threats, and I would leave that to the inquiry that I'm sure is going to happen. I wouldn't note, though, that these are firearms officers who, instead of shooting someone, which normally, I know enough to know that leads to much more severe consequences, use kinetic force and tasering rather than shooting somebody, which seems to me a level of proportionality that you don't get on the continent. You certainly don't get in the United States of America. But the fact that you've got people who wanting to use this, as you said earlier, wanting to bring race into this for some reason, who wanted to try and compare this to a George Floyd moment. And I mean, the character who's doing that is someone who himself, I'm going to get this exactly right, joked about men giving their wives a backhander on a podcast, and has talked about how 70% of hell will be women in there, and then insisting that Muslims can't promote positive LGBT issues.
And to be clear, so you're talking about Akhmed Yakoob, who's the lawyer?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. And so I think that anybody who professes to be speaking up on these issues should be challenged on those kinds of things themselves before they try and claim to be
I just say I don't know about the allegations that you just made insofar as him having said those things. So we'll take your word for it. He's not here to defend himself, of course. But, it does seem... Let's just say that he's a bit of an attention seeker. I think I'm allowed to say that. This is a man that loves himself. He loves parading himself on the likes of Instagram with Lamborghinis and flash watches and so on. So I think we could be forgiven for thinking that perhaps his involvement in this is about him. Of course, he is a wannabe politician. He's failed in his bid so far, Akhmed Yakoob, insofar as his political career. So is it a bit of a stretch or not to suggest that perhaps he's getting involved because it might further his political ambitions?
Yeah, I think that's a very good guess. I mean, this is the problem that we've got now. You have a situation in many countries across the West where there are lots of people of different races and ethnicities and backgrounds and religions and things like that. And we've got a trend in recent years, probably the last 10 years or so, where we seem to have a need to try and make as many divisions as we possibly can based on immutable characteristics like somebody's race. Now, that is a surefire recipe for social destruction. We need to be downplaying the differences that we all have and trying to find things that unite us all together. I would say
I just think
British identity has nothing to do with your skin colour. It's to do whether you love the monarchy, you love the flag.
And frankly, James, not every incident and issue is a race issue. There are so many race baiters now out there as the commentators and social media commentators. It's getting very tiresome, frankly, that absolutely anything and everything is about race. My comment earlier was that, because there was an ethnic minority involved, as in the alleged assailants of this situation at Manchester Airport, the fact that police are being called racist as a consequence of the way that they acted. I mean, race has absolutely nothing to do with it. The police would not have seen colour or ethnicity or a different culture in this. They would have simply seen a threat. And I'm sure that, although I can't speak for Greater Manchester Police or its officers, anyone sensible, anyone with a bit of common sense will agree with me that I'm sure was the case.